actually had a client the other day who told me that she found me through Perplexity, which is an AI tool. And she was looking for a brunette Asian hair specialist. And, as she put more prompts in, my name kept coming up. And then as she was doing research, my name kept coming up. So then she reached out to me via DM. I told her to schedule a consultation. She came in for a consult, and then we did her hair.
Welcome to Cutting Edge, the podcast, created and brought to you by L'Oréal Professionnel Products, an exclusive series about the world's top hairstylists. Through their unique stories, visions, and voices, these rule-breaking artists from around the world share their journeys to success and how they are shaping the future of hairstyling and professional beauty, and how they are elevating the profession to new heights. In these 3 new exclusive episodes, we are partnering with L'Oréal Professionnel on the occasion of the iconic Style and Color Trophy competition and meeting their 3 jury members. My name is Charlotte from L'Oréal Professionnel Products team in Paris, and I am thrilled to be hosting these conversations. Today, I am sitting down with Min Kim, a Korean-born, joyful New Yorker who has been delivering splendid color and balayage work at Butterfly Studio Salon in the heart of Manhattan for 22 years. Min also travels across the US and the world to provide balayage techniques and business education to hairstylists, a podcast series produced by L'Oréal Professionnel Products.
My name is Min Kim. I am 50 years old. I know you're all in shock, and I am American, born in Korea. I am a hairstylist and a magician and a therapist and a friend and a mother. Actually, my son thinks I'm a nightmare, but I'm a cool mom. My personal mission with hairstyling is to help empower people to have better lives. Being a hairstylist is so fun, is challenging, but also very rewarding. Or is it?
So hello, Min. I'm very happy to have you with us today on Cutting Edge, the podcast. Welcome in Paris for this new exclusive season in collaboration with Style and Color Trophy. We are very happy to have you with us because you are a famous hairstylist. You've been collaborating with L'Oréal Professionnel since many years now. And you are, of course, for the 6th time, I think,
yes,
a jury of this year's edition of Style and Color Trophy. So how do you feel?
It's very exciting because things are going to be very different this year. So I'm looking forward to shooting and releasing all the episodes.
Yes, I can't wait to see it and see who is going to be a big winner. So as you may know, in Cutting Edge, the podcast, we really try to interview some of the best hairstylists worldwide and to really understand their career, what have they done, how they are the best of what they are today. And so the idea is really to give advice to young hairstylists and to give them the vision of the industry, what you think has changed, what advice would you give? So before we really start in your daily life today, I wanted to get back in your early years, in your childhood, to understand a little bit more where you came from.
Excellent. I actually was born in Korea, so we immigrated to the States when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
And when we first came to the US, we actually lived in Iowa for about 6 months. And my father was deciding between the East Coast and the West Coast. And he chose the East Coast.
Okay.
So often people think I'm from LA because of the way I speak. I think he should have chosen LA, but I think if we hadn't done the East Coast, then I wouldn't be here today.
Oh, why is that?
I definitely love warmer weather. I think that definitely drives everything. And even the way I see color is 100% around my summers that I spent at the beach watching surfers. I was a beach nanny when I was like 12, 13 years old, working illegally. So it's always kind of been the inspiration behind what I see and envision when I'm doing color work.
But maybe it came from the frustration, living in New York, being cold and dreaming about...
Well, now that's what I do. I dream about escaping all the time.
So tell me more about your early childhood. Did your family had anything to do with hairstyling?
Not even close, but there is a picture I saw of me when I was a baby, and I literally had a hairbrush in my hand. But basically, when I was in school, I always did my friends' hair and makeup, and I even had teachers that would ask me to braid their hair in between classes. So I think it was something I was always interested in, but I never imagined that I could make a career, much less a living off of it.
So what was your scholarship like? What have you done?
I graduated from Rutgers University, and I actually wanted to be a doctor. So I started off as a biology major, and I figured out quickly that that was not for me.
Okay.
So I went from what we call the 5-year program to the 3-year program.
Okay.
And I finished school early because as much as I enjoyed being away from my parents who were very strict, I went to a very big university and it was way too much for me. So I ended up just taking as many classes, and then fast forward to I finished early. And then I just sort of traveled around and worked. And I actually had a boyfriend during this time after college who was a hairdresser. And I'm very analytical. And I remember just sitting there watching him doing highlights, being like, why is he doing that? The placement's terrible. It looks like spaghetti's on her head. Like, it just wasn't good. So shortly after 9/11 actually happened, and then when I'd come back to the States from living abroad, it was like, okay, what do I want to do? So instead of like trying to live the life that my parents wanted for me, I decided to go to beauty school when I was 26 years old and started my beauty journey there.
So you said that you started your beauty school at 26, and it's interesting because the most stylists I know start their career super early at like 15 or 16 years old. And what do you think are the benefits from your side to have started quite old, if we can say?
I would say that I definitely knew that I wanted this as a career because it was something that I was always interested in. I love all things beauty and fashion. So it was the perfect way for me to like combine the left side of my brain with the right side. So I have this creative outlet, and I'm also being very analytical when it comes to looking at hair and formulating and thinking about color combinations. So it was something that came very easily to me. So I think I actually have a leg up because I had such a varied experience from going to college, from traveling, from living, working different jobs. So I was able to take all those experiences and channel it so that when I'm able to talk to clients, some of my clients are CEOs and they're very big, important women with big jobs, and I know how to speak to them. But I also know how to speak to a teenager or a grandmother or a mother, so I'm able to relate to people much, much easier.
Yeah, so you arrive on the job with much more confidence and expertise from your previous working experience.
Yeah, and literally it was like I wanted to be a slingshot. Like I knew what I wanted to do. I mean, I actually started off working on the styling side.
Okay.
I thought I wanted to style and cut, and then after about 6 months working at a salon uptown, I realized that that wasn't really what interested me and what I was passionate about.
Okay.
So I ended up switching and moving to a salon in Flatiron, and it will actually be my 22nd year this May at Butterfly Studio Salon in New York City. 22, yeah, I think it's 22. 22 years.
In New York, you need to, how do you say, specialize.
Yes.
You work in cut or in color, so you begin with cut and then you switch to color. And
Yes.
then since 22 years, you are a master of colors in this studio.
Yes.
And 22 years seems amazing because, as you know, some business owners and some salons owners do not manage to keep, their employees for that long. It's very difficult. It's a very competitive market. So if there are business owners listening to you, what advice would you give? How do you think you are still in the same salon for so long?
I mean, I think my situation's a little bit unique because I have the career that I've been able to develop over the years. So, I remember when I first started there, we did vision boards. And on my vision board, I had work 4 days, I think. And I remember it was like, they were like, ha, 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 yeah, yeah. But then as time went on, they adapted and became flexible to work with the needs of the different team members. And then especially now, I have the freedom to travel the world and also work with the US still. And I've been able to trim down my schedule so that I can have a little bit more balance in my life.
And so what have you learned in this salon? And also since it's been 22 years, how have you seen the salon's life evolved, the needs of the clients, it must be two different kinds of experience when you started in the 2000 from now.
20 years ago when I started, I want to say that I think we focused more on the environment, making sure that it was clean and that clients had coffee and yes, color and the hair was always a part of it.
Okay.
But now I think because there's so much competition and because of social media, we really have to focus on the experience. And that's something where I'm very sensitive to my clients, what they need in that day, and also like, how do they feel when they're there? And I'm always trying to create an experience that transforms the I have to go to get my hair done to I want to go. I love when my clients are sitting next to each other and they recognize each other from the appointment before. Or if I know that someone's a doctor and this one has questions, I'll just turn them and be like, hey, Susie, look at Betty. She actually has an issue. Da, da, da. But it ends up becoming a community where these women who were strangers, they sit in my chair and now they're friends. So a lot of times they book their appointments together and then some of them even, go out for drinks after, which is fantastic.
And besides this sense of community, what else do you like inside the salon's life?
I like the flexibility that I have, which is very important. There's also many different ranges as far as ages, levels, life experience. So there's quite a bit of diversity, which is very interesting. So we have every type of clientele that you could imagine coming in, which also means that our staff is also very diverse. So there's a lot of personalities.
And are you managing other stylists or you're working on your own? How does it work?
I work in a commission salon.
Okay.
So I feel like when I'm working, there's so many things happening. So I'm like literally on my own little planet.
Okay.
But when I'm working, it's pretty much like, I rely on my assistant to keep me on track. So I feel like I'm there just to do the hair and they have to manage everything behind. So I couldn't do it without the help of the assistants and the management team as well.
Yeah, sure. And I guess you've seen since a few years, the Gen Z entering the workforce, so this new generation of hairstylists. How do you feel about them? Do you think they are different than your generation?
It's interesting. I feel like the Gen Z rely more on social media versus really investing in their education. Like they come out of school and they think they can have a full book. Some people may, but if it's just built on social strategy versus actually having the knowledge and the know-how and investing in your education and your training, it only takes you so far. So I feel like there's enough content out there where you can sort of get what they're doing, like monkey see, monkey do, but you don't really understand the how or the why. And I think it's really important to understand why something went well and also why something went wrong, and then to be able to fix it. But if you're just copying someone's work, you don't really have that ability to be so agile and to get yourself out of these sticky situations.
Yeah. So that's a good link for my next question. A big part of your work today is education, especially with L'Oréal Professionnel. So can you explain us a little bit a week in your life? How do you organize yourself between the salon and between your freelance activity, if I can say so?
Yeah, in the salon, I'm there about 2.5 days.
Okay.
So I work a half day on a Wednesday, and I work late on Wednesdays because that's the night that I do not have my son, who's 10 years old.
Okay.
And then I work from like 10:30 is the first client that I take. And I set that up because, the traffic in New York City is insane, and I do not like commuting with rush hour. So I wait till rush hour ends, and that's when I come in. And then I start my day that way.
Smart.
Always. I'm very strategic in what I do.
And so 2.5 days in a salon, and then the rest of your week is dedicated to what?
I try to do, Tuesdays, Taco Tuesdays when I'm not traveling.
Okay.
But either I'm traveling somewhere all over the world or I'm traveling throughout the U.S. So if I'm traveling throughout the U.S., it's usually like a 1 or 2 day gig versus if I'm traveling internationally, a lot of times it's like 1 to 2 weeks depending on where I'm going.
And so it is for these educational purposes, masterclass and so on. Can you please explain us how did you went from being an employee in a salon to being an educator across the country, across the world?
It first started with a class that I taught in California.
Okay.
There was a salon that was struggling with a product that I was embracing and having great success with. So the brand asked me to go. And after that, we started talking because they were establishing the balayage team in the US. So I became a part of that team.
Okay.
And after that, it was just about working in the US. And then I guess the team from Paris came and they had a shoot like 9 years ago, I'd say.
Wow.
Yeah, so it slowly shifted from just doing some photo shoots and collaborations to doing master classes, traveling all over the world. I do events on stage. I do a lot of blah, blah, blah stuff.
Like this?
Yes, but I love the blah, blah, blah. And just recently, I was in India and I worked with a team in India and we broke a Guinness World Record.
Oh, wow.
And we did 422 live color transformations. So it was the most color being done. And we shattered a record that was set in 2017. So that was super exciting and cool. But I love that I have the opportunity to do things that I never would have imagined. So that's the interesting thing. Like you go into hairdressing and you think you're going to stand behind a chair and, you know, create beautiful looks. But I had no idea that it could transition into this like very interesting and challenging, but in an amazing way because I get bored easily.
Yeah.
So it's definitely kept me on my toes. And I love seeing what unravels each year that I work with the brand.
But that's really something that we spot on is that stylists at the beginning, sometimes they became hairstylists because they have no choice or it's a family business and they start and they're like, yeah, I'm going to be a hairstylist. And finally, they are successful and they're like, oh, it's opening doors in my life that I never thought it would be. And finally, the spectrum is so much wider than I thought it would be. So it's interesting what you're saying about education. How do you find the confidence, you know, to be an educator? Because being an educator, it means you really know your subject. You are comfortable to speak in front of thousands of people. How do you build that up?
I think it's my background also. Like when I was in college, I took public speaking.
Okay.
I was a sociology major, so I did read a lot and write. And then parlaying that into like, I truly love beauty and the brand. So I wouldn't work with the brand if I didn't believe in the products. And like having been in the laboratories and seeing the different teams and how they collab throughout the years, it definitely reinforces that this is where I want to be. So I think it's just something that, you know, you don't imagine or you don't quite know which way you're going to go or end up. But it's been an exciting journey.
Yes. What do you think is the specific technique that you might have or specific skills that made you, you know, stand out compared to other educator or other stylists?
I am known for balayage, but I think people forget that I am a colorist and that I can do all the things.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. So I'm actually working on making sure that, you know, other hairdressers have the confidence to voice what it is that they do and to do it proudly. So I think that's something that's been missing in our industry. And even when I was in beauty school, I remember I had a roommate whose boyfriend was in business school. And, you know, he poo-pooed and he was just like, oh, like he looked down on me because I was going to hairdressing school. Yeah. And then lo and behold, after I finished, 2008, the market crashed. And I'm sure he's jobless somewhere.
And you're like, bye.
Yeah.
That's interesting also because I think it's maybe from COVID or something like that. Now, especially on social media, but also in masterclasses, we teach hairstylists to run a business, to be an entrepreneur, to be a social media manager. And that's also something that you explain on your own social.
Yes.
So how do you make that work and how is it fruitful for your business today?
I mean, it's always been a part of what I did. So it's just naturally been integrated. But I think, once you've been on a platform for so long, you have to evolve. So I'm constantly thinking of what I can do next.
Yeah.
So I'm even thinking about launching my own podcast.
Ooh.
And it would be something targeted to hairdressers to help them not only build their confidence, but also like how to make more money and how to have balance and how do you do, 5 million things. Because especially as women, it's like, I'm not just a hairdresser. I'm also a single mom. I'm also the housekeeper, the driver, the carpool driver. You know what I mean? So it's like we're wearing so many different hats that you have to really like kind of be very strong and firm in knowing who you are.
That's really something that we saw compared to US hairstylists and French hairstylists, because in France, we don't talk that much about money and about profitability. But this new generation is starting to talk about it more. But you, American people, have a very unapologetic relationship to money.
Yeah.
And we really need to change that and to say, we want to be hairstylists and make money. And that can work.
I always talk about how if you think about people in business, they have a meeting every single year, a review. And that's how they determine whether they get a raise or a bonus.
Yeah.
So as hairdressers, we're really doing ourselves a disservice if you're not raising your prices regularly. The cost of products, there's so much competition, and then also going back to like making it a memorable experience that people want to be at. That's where you really have the ability to charge more, especially if you're investing in your education. So everything costs money, but these are the things that we should be talking about as well. Like you don't go on social media and talk about what you ate for dinner. Maybe you do in your stories, but you want to promote your business, and it's really important that you develop your brand in a way where people are going to see the value in what you offer and what you do for them.
And what do you love so much about sharing your knowledge with a student or at least other hairstylists?
I mean, I remember like before I went to beauty school when I was kind of like feeling lost and like just feeling helpless and not sure about what I was going to do in life, with my life, where I was going to be, what I wanted to do to make myself happy. And by entering the world of beauty, I was really able to transform like not just my life, but even my mindset. So I think there's so many aspects to hairdressing that have really helped me in my personal life. And again, it's like, we become our clients' therapists. But I think by talking to so many people, I learn so much more about things that I wouldn't know about. So I think having the access to information and just being naturally curious have really helped to complement my life, but also that I can share the information and be a connector for my clients too.
And I guess especially in education, your success is also because you seem to be very motivational. You drive a very good energy, and I think hairstylist job can be challenging. And so maybe stylists like, to have this kind of mother figure who tells them, you can do it.
That, and I'm very direct.
Yes.
So I have a no BS approach. So I always ask permission if I'm doing a class, if they're okay with honest feedback. Because if you don't want the truth or you don't want feedback, you're not in the right room. Because how are you going to grow and how are you going to learn? So that's something which, I always ask permission, but it's really, really big. And you can tell when someone is not open,
Feedback. At L'Oréal, we say feedback is a gift.
Absolutely. I see that too.
And also, I wanted to ask about, women empowerment, because it's true that hairstyling industry is mainly done by women, but there are not that much women,
at the top,
leading the industry at the top. And I guess maybe you're one of the few of your generation.
Yeah.
Now it's getting more and more common, but how do you feel growing up in this industry without many female role models? And do you think that young female hairstylists come to you to have this kind of model?
Yeah, it's funny. I get messages from people all over the world that want to come work for me. And I'm like, but I don't own my salon.
Why not?
And I'm not there that often. So even if you want to come assist, chances are I'm not going to be there when you stop by. So that's an interesting thing that happens.
Because sometimes, women speak about glass ceiling or so on. And when you grew up in the industry without having role model, it didn't stop you?
No, because I was always after something more than what I had, So I knew that in order for me to succeed, I had to work hard. I also had to tell people what it was that I wanted and was looking for. So I wasn't quiet about it. And I think a problem is, especially being Asian, like I grew up keeping everything to myself and not really speaking up. But then, once I started rebelling, it was like, oh, okay, this is how you get things done. So I think just being able to voice what we want and being clear on our vision of what we want in life. So to be more intentional and to actually set realistic goals, short-term, long-term. A lot of people don't even know what they're going to do in a week. So if you're clear about this is what I want 10 years from now. Like, what are the steps that you need to do to get there? What kind of classes do you have to take? How many clients do you need? So I think if you quantify things in that fashion, it makes it easier to achieve or makes it more of an actionable plan.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to go back to your coloration services. Can you explain us what is a color session with you?
Well, it's always going to be focused on the health and quality of the hair. So all my color services include a metal detox pre-treatment, and then I finish every color service with Dia-Light.
Okay.
So it speaks to the treatment aspect of everything. So all my color services are also called treatment colors. So treatment highlight, treatment single process, and then there's like dimensional treatment colors, but it's all geared to, we have a conversation. So I try to have a consult with every single client. So we take a look at what's happening, and then we talk about if they have any events coming up or what it is that they're imagining. But it's a collaborative experience that I want them to be a part of. Although I also have those clients that are just like, you do whatever you want to do because you're the professional. So I'm like, okay, woo, party.
I think that's what hairstylists like, to have a free blank page.
Yeah.
So health is a big part of your construction of the service, right? I think that's something quite new before. People didn't really care. They want result and no matter of how their hair looks. And now it's really a big priority.
It's super important because if you think about it, hair is a fabric. And once you damage that fabric, whatever you try to build, it's going to fall apart. So if you honor and take care of it from the very beginning, to the pre-treatment, to, the at-home care, like I always tell my clients, help me help you.
Yeah.
If you don't do what I recommend, then I can only, guarantee that your hair is going to be like 50 to 70% of what it could be because you're not doing the proper post-care. So if they get on board with me, then we understand this relationship, like how to make it work. But if they're not following my recommendations, then it becomes very challenging. But, I point it out to them.
So product recommendation is a big part of your work, and it's, I guess, additional revenue for you as well if you sell product in your salon. What are the products that you recommend the most or that your clients like the most?
Metal detox.
Metal detox.
They're obsessed.
Yeah.
It smells good. Usually, if anything, they start complaining because their husband and their kids start using it all. But I'm like, just get 2 bottles of shampoo. It's easy. Or we have a holiday box set. Get 2.
Do you spot any major color trends that you observe today?
I think people are still going for durable hair color, so meaning lower maintenance.
Yeah.
I do see more of a tone-on-tone trend happening versus something that's super contrasting, as that's, a lot more maintenance. But also, like, it's the focus on, like, shine, especially going into the winter months. Like, after summer, everyone's hair is all blown out from oxidation and from the sun. So there's that desire to go a little bit richer. And it's funny, like, I made my hair darker this fall. And literally all my clients are coming in, they're looking at my hair, and they're like, what is that? And I'm like, it's my mocha melt. And they're all going mocha. So it's fantastic.
You are your first ambassador.
Yeah.
If you are not well put together,
100%.
the client won't
and
trust your advice.
But there's hairdressers out there that say, the good hairdresser is the one whose roots aren't done. But I'm like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't have time to do it in the salon, but you know that I'm in my bathroom putting on my single process myself. Like, there's no way I'm going to go into work without my makeup done, without having my nails done, you know? I'm also like, you know, I think it's important to not only speak professionally, but to look professional. So I wear gloves, but if I don't have gloves on, it's like I always have my nails done because I don't like seeing, this is going to be controversial, but I don't like seeing stains on nails.
I agree. What change have you seen in salons through your career?
The impact of social media has been huge because, as I said, it's been 20 plus years at Butterfly Studio Salon in New York City. And in the beginning, I remember we would create books of red hair, blonde hair, brunettes. And now clients are coming in, and it's funny, they used to bring in pictures of models and actresses.
Magazine.
And now I have clients that are bringing in pictures of my hair. Or it's my clients that I've posted, whether it's in a story or on the wall, they'll screenshot it, but they're actually bringing in my work. So I do have a focus on brunette and Asian hair. So I have a ton of brunettes and Asians. And I actually had a client the other day who told me that she found me through Perplexity, which is an AI tool.
Oh, wow.
And she was looking for a brunette Asian hair specialist. And, you know, as she put more prompts in, my name kept coming up. And then as she was doing research, my name kept coming up. So then she reached out to me via DM. I told her to schedule a consultation. She came in for a consult, and then we did her hair.
Everyone mentioned AI.
Yeah.
Is it something that you speak a lot inside the community? Are you scared about it? How do you feel?
I mean, I don't think AI is going to replace what we do with our hands. And then also, even if you go, if I gave someone else my formula, it's not going to look exactly the same. So I think that there's that personal touch and that flavor that one adds, which, you know, AI is not going to be able to replicate, but I think that AI can help to make certain processes easier. So that's something I'm just curious to see, you know, how crazy it goes though, because AI is developing at a pace that is just insane.
Yes. You know, in Salon, since a few years, L'Oréal Professionnel and other brands have implemented, you know, tools, AI consultation to help hairstylists to have kind of augmented beauty experience. Is that something that you use on your daily life?
I do occasionally, but most often I have clients that come in and they know what they want or don't want. So even if they're letting me be the professional, they're still clear on the fact that they want to stay a brunette. But if someone wants to try a color that's completely wild, that's a situation where augmented beauty tool would be helpful.
You are mentioning this Asian hairstyle expertise that you have developed over the years. Did you get your inspiration from Korean beauty? We know that Korean beauty is a huge thing on especially skincare, but I don't know about hair care.
I mean, I love Korea.
Yeah.
I'm going all the time now for
Really?
beauty treatments, yes.
Okay.
So it's interesting to see how the technology there is advanced and they have access to things that we don't in the US. So I do find that very interesting. But I mean, even with our brand, we're, you know, launching Dialite with hyaluronic acid, which is similar to, you know, what we do for skincare.
Yeah.
So I think that the ingredients being used in hair care now are also getting more advanced, and it's definitely taking on like the healthy, the quality, the treatment-like effect that, you know, that I love. So it's my jam.
But that's what we call a skinification of hair. You know, it's the fact that before people just used to put a mask, then they put scalp serum, they put leave-in, pre-shampoo. The routine are getting more and more complex, and I think maybe inspired from Korean beauty of this, you know, technique of layering.
Layering, yeah.
Where Korean customers love to do that.
Me too.
Yeah. You've been a head-up ambassador, you know, the brand cause of L'Oréal Professionnel, which is dedicated to the mental health of hairstylists. We know that it's a very busy job. And as you said, you are a mother yourself. How did you find the balance to move on with your career and also being a mom at the same time?
I think I was on a stage in front of 3,000 people 6 weeks after I had my baby. And I was on a plane 4 weeks after. And from the beginning, I had to have people help me with childcare. And I had a client say to me that, don't look at it like you're leaving your child. Look at it like you're giving your child the opportunity to be loved by more people. And when you change the way you look at things, instead of focusing on what you're not able to do, I was able to think about like how much more love this child is getting. And it's actually made it so he's like way more open. Like he's not stupid. He's not like trusting everyone.
No, but
he's very easygoing. Like his personality is super open, a little bit too open sometimes. But, it's all something that like, I think the way you look at things can really help to shift. So it's the same thing as looking at a glass half full or empty. I look at it as half full.
And I guess also being a freelance and monitoring your activity as you wish gave you, I guess, more freedom than being just an employee.
Yeah, and I think also I'm lucky because I've been given the gift of traveling for work. And that allows me to see how different countries, different people live. So when I go back, I'm more appreciative and then also more understanding. Like, people and cultures are very different, so the way that we're raised is going to vary depending on where you're from. So it's just brought in awareness and a sensitivity that I probably would not have had if I just lived and stayed in the US, which is the majority of Americans don't get to travel.
Would you advise your son to become a hairstylist?
I'll tell you what, that boy loves playing with my hair. So right now he wants to be a soccer star, football star. But I'm curious to see whether he gets interested in the hair business. Like whenever I have like style and color trophy, when anything comes out, I bring the kids over, I feed them dinner, and then I make them watch me on TV.
Wow, that's so cool.
But it's funny to me because I don't see myself this way. But like, his friends, like the parents at the school think I'm famous. And it's just bizarre because I'm like, I'm just little old me, This is my life, so I only know this. But I guess when you're an outsider and, you just take care of a kid or you have a desk job, it seems like it's glamorous. But, it is glamorous. Like, stuff like this is amazing. But there's also days like last week when I had 3 flights canceled and 5 reschedules, and I bought 3 plane tickets to see which one was going to get out. And, I made it home eventually, but travel delays, and there's a lot behind the scenes that people don't see. There's a lot of hard work involved, and you have to be very agile and resilient, which is something I think I am.
And hardworking also, because I think that's something that was spot on with every hairstylist, is that success doesn't come in a night.
No.
Education is everything. You need to train yourself and to learn every day to become the best that you can, and then success will follow. But and also, yes, social media is a huge opportunity today. But if there is no work behind and education behind, social media is just
work, and you have to find the joy. Like, if you don't find the joy, I think it's very evident, and it's that piece of authenticity where you can really feel if someone is forcing something, and if it doesn't feel like, it doesn't resonate, if it isn't something that they're really, really passionate about.
At the beginning of the podcast, you were mentioning your parents, wanted you to become a doctor. It's true that, as we say, hairstyling career is often undervalued, but how do your parents feel, or your family, about your success today?
It's wild because I thought growing up that, I had to do what made them happy, but I finally realized that when I was happy, that's when my parents were happy. And it's funny because I actually had a conversation with my mom the other day, and she was saying that her and my dad were talking about how, they were lucky because my brother and I, like, my parents were young when they had us. They came to the States when they were young. We didn't speak the language, so they didn't know anything. So even when it came to filling out applications, joining sports teams, like I had to figure everything out on my own. So I think I've always been resourceful and scrappy in that sense, which has really helped to, I guess, push me forward and to always be forward thinking, solution oriented, which are all things that I think are really important, especially when we're talking about caring for people and touching their hair, because essentially we're solving a problem when it comes to, well, not my clients, but
yeah, most of the time.
Yeah, a lot of times there's, issues happening, especially with so many people doing kitchen beautician jobs now.
To finish, what advice would you give to a young hairstylist coming in the industry today?
I think from a work professional standpoint, it would be to always be 2 steps ahead and to not get caught up in the mistakes, like to look everything as a lesson and an opportunity to grow. Because I think in the beginning, you don't really know what you're doing, but instead of looking at it and being discouraged, figure out what went wrong and have a solution and learn something from it. Like, why did that go wrong and what can I do to make sure that never happens? And then once you have that type of mindset, I think you are able to grow and to continue to learn. And then hopefully you'll figure out what gives you passion and joy and happiness. And then you can drive your career in the direction that you want it.
Do you think, Min, that this profession that you work on since so many years has changed you in a personal way?
It does. I feel like it's definitely helped me to become more joyful. In general, I think it's taught me that you have to persevere. You have to constantly learn and challenge yourself. And it's something where even something as simple as a training on how to facilitate a class, there's aspects that I always take and apply to my personal life. So I think there's this like crossover that happens between the personal and the professional. So it's inevitable that hairdressing has impacted the woman that I am.
What would you say to your younger self?
What would I say to the younger men? You got this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hairstylists and beauty lovers can learn a lot from Min's life and professional salon experience. As with the education she provides worldwide, you can hear her direct, bold approach to offer elevated salon and education experiences. I think it's no wonder that clients and students simply trust her skills and words. As she mentioned, she must indeed be a cool mom. Thank you for listening to this new episode of Cutting Edge, the podcast, an exclusive podcast series by L'Oréal Professionnel Products. Don't hesitate to subscribe and rate this podcast. And remember, all our episodes are available on every major streaming platform.